what's up guys, I'm Brian, this is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me as we check out the 83-inch LG G5. I've been waiting for this moment for so long as this is my next TV. Now I am part of the first allocation from our good friends at Value Electronics. This is where we're going to be filming the 83-inch G5 today. So mine should be here in the next week or so, but I told Robert the minute we had it there, I'm going to the store to check it out even before it gets here in the studio. This is a big moment for LG where I think they will completely stand apart from everyone else. Without further ado, let's check out the 83-inch LG G5 filmed at Value Electronics. Thank you so much for watching. All right, guys, let's do it. LG 83-inch G5. I am so excited to be able to shoot this video for you guys today. And forgive my intro being very dramatic and prolonged. I really want you to spend as much time as possible seeing this brand new monster in action. Simply put, this is the first time I've ever seen the 83-inch G5, and many of you may never see one in person, considering most retailers will only carry the 55 to 65 and maybe the 77. Now, first impressions of the 83-inch is I was absolutely blown away. Walking into the store, I just knew this thing is going to be mine. And again, I'm taking the chance. I am purchasing the 83-inch G5 myself to replace my C1, which is in my home theater at home. So any apprehension I had with a lot of the reviews that are out there from the UK, which I'll bring up a little bit later in the video, I was still thinking maybe I'll wait. Definitely going to wait. The minute I saw it in person and spent the entire day with it, I was done. I'm in love. I'm buying it. And that's really where I could end the video, is I was already convinced myself with the time I spent with it. It's really the brightness, the vibrancy, the extra color, and the detail. We have the Alpha 11 returning, but it has been retooled, and they have one of the best processors in the business, striking the balance between very vibrant and very accurate. LG does that combination better than anyone. Let's go through the picture presets together to show you the flexibility of image on the 83-inch LG G5. Running through the presets, going from the personalized picture wizard, which I'll show you in a moment, to vivid, standard. You also have the auto power save, cinema home, cinema, as well as game optimizer and filmmaker. Filmmaker is extremely bright. Actually, all of them are very bright and very detailed. The standard preset doesn't even feel like it's nearly the brightest of the top presets. It just is the most colorful. So the flexibility of image, as you see here, changes quite a bit with each change from one preset to the next. Then you also have the personalized picture wizard, which is back, which actually does make a difference. What you pick here then goes into a preset that carries over. Now, I did see that it carried over to Dolby Vision, which it didn't function well there, as I believe there's too much processing. I don't know why you'd have that in Dolby Vision, but we'll talk about Dolby Vision a little bit later in the video. But as far as flexibility of image, as I mentioned, LG is the best in the business of giving you both very vibrant and very accurate, especially with their presets, just going from each one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about LG's interface and the system. We'll do that in the full review or the remote or anything like that. We're talking pure picture quality today. Unreal image. One of the brightest TVs I have ever seen in person. And again, the detail is off the charts. This is, again, an OLED. So the micro contrast is absurd. Here we are in the vivid preset, and everything is still very accurate and very detailed. Now, honestly, I was very nervous for the LG G5 as they've gotten rid of the micro lens array that they spent 2 years refining. I was very close to getting the LG G4, but I simply ran out of time towards the end of the year. And like many of you, as CES approached, I figured I would wait as I knew MLA wouldn't be there anymore. Now they have the new 4-stack primary RGB tandem OLED. I was just nervous to go with something from a first technology or first year. Bleeding edge isn't always great. And there are some concerns in regards to reviews that we've heard and have seen in the UK. Now, the UK had the G5 probably 2 or 3 weeks before we've had it here in the US, which is odd. But I want to give a shout out to Vincent from HDV Test and AV Forums with their videos, and then an excellent article on whathifi.com. Those 3 reviews are excellent. They all love the LG G5, except there was an issue that was similar to the issue on the LG CX, which I was familiar with and I hated, and I returned the CX for the reasons that they have noted. All 3 had findings of raised blacks, floating blacks. Now, what I had experienced on the CX were floating blacks, which look like little black triangles, and also what you would see is posterization in coming out of black with challenging films. WhatHiFi.com saw it more in Dolby Vision and some very challenging movies, which I also tested. And quickly, the findings were on streaming. They were not hardware-based, meaning Blu-rays. They were streaming Dolby Vision from what I could gather. And in fairness, those are review samples that are earlier before retail samples. So this is a retail item that is now here in the US, and it is already taking an update since those websites and content creators made their videos. So it's already been partially addressed. And I'll say partially, as I did put it through its paces with some very, very challenging films. I did Nosferatu, which is a nightmare for any TV to keep up with. The Voyage of the Detemer, another vampire movie, which is also very challenging. Brotherhood of the Wolf, Seven, and Oppenheimer. Now, in all those films, only one of them really struggled, and that was The Last Voyage of the Detemer, which again is like Nosferatu, very challenging. But I was in the Picture Wizard in Dolby Vision. Once I moved out of that into Filmmaker, it was better. However, it should still perform excellent in all the presets mentioned within Dolby Vision. What I saw were some blacks moving around and some posterization. It definitely wasn't watchable in the other presets other than Filmmaker. Now, why would I still make this purchase? I would say that I know LG is on it. I've spoken to LG. They are working on it. I already saw an update today, which was put on this G5 before we started. But the other things that make the G5 amazing makes me want to make the purchase right now. And I am confident they'll fix it. It's not what I saw on the LG CX, meaning those Venom floating blacks. I saw nothing in gaming, even with VRR enabled. So that made me very confident to move forward with my own purchase. We'll also be back at Value Electronics on April 12th, where Stop the Phone and I will test the G5 at 77 versus the S95F QD OLED. Then we're going to really run movies all day long and try to actually find it more than just seeing if it's passable. We're going to try to really get to the bottom of all of the findings from our peers in the UK. Now, checking out this shot in front of me, very, very bright, but seeing the sun resolve, not just being a white blob. You can see the edges of the sun. And then moving into this shot here, if you look at the raindrops on the leaves, the specular highlights within those drops I've never seen pop before. And I've seen this footage on nearly every TV I have ever seen, and it's never looked this good. That's what makes it easy for me to say, I want it, I need it. And I wish you were there when I was filming it, because I brought up all my concerns with Robert and Wendy when I showed up. It was actually to the point when I was on the way to the store talking to Stop the FOMO where I said, if this display has any of the things that the LG CX had, I was going to make a video basically saying G5 canceled or G5 dead on arrival. Instead, I called him like 9 hours later, laughing and saying, I love it, I need it, I want it. Now, this is also not a review. I'll wait till I get my 83-inch G5 in the studio to do a full review. We'll do PC gaming and we'll go through the settings and everything that the LG has to offer differently this year. But what I'm trying to show you while I'm blabbing on about possible issues is, again, how accurate and the color banding on a previous LG's is gone. We are here in filmmaker mode and you wouldn't really know it. You would know it because it's accurate, but it's so freaking bright that I stayed in filmmaker the majority of the time within this video. Now here, moving into Cinema Home, which is also very bright. You can also customize each preset however you like. That's what I love about LG's, again, flexibility of image, but the HDR impact is absolutely ridiculous on the LG G5. It was blindingly bright, and it wasn't just perceived brightness, it was there. And to have true whites from an OLED, which started pretty much with the G4, is here. Now in this shot here, though it's not Dolby Vision, I am looking at the blacks and there are no issues at all. And a very special thanks to Robert and Wendy Zahn of Value Electronics. If you're in the New York or Scarsdale area, swing by and you can see the G5 there on display right now. Consider making your next AV purchase through them. Check the description below for all their information. Let them know that Brian from Brian's Tech Therapy sent you. They'll take amazing care of you. I was in the store for like 11 hours, just taking up the store, talking to customers as they walked in. I was just entranced, but they do sacrifice the store for me, and they are doing it for our upcoming spring event where the G5 will go against the S95F. Also, a very special thanks to the one and only Amazing Jennifer Gala and her second channel, HDR SUPER CHANNEL. She's responsible for 98% of the footage you're seeing within this video. Check the description below for links to both of her channels and consider becoming a Patreon to her main channel. You'll be able to download the same material in a full Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision. Thank you so much, Jen. Now you'll also see that the sticker is actually still on the screen if you look at the little yellow tag in the bottom, as this is an 83-inch just out of the box. No break-in, just updated, and it's here for us to check out. What that means, it's now being broken in for calibration, though I do believe this will be a display that will stay in the store on the wall. Still didn't want to take the plastic off of it as it's going to be handled a bit more. But as I mentioned, I'll have the 83-inch in the next few weeks, and we'll also be back at Value Electronics checking out the 83 and the 77. Now, even with the other TVs in the store surrounding me, you've seen the reflection on the screen a few times. I'll just list them quickly. We have a Sony Bravia 9 at 85 inches, 77-inch A95L. We also have the brand new S95F Quantum Dot OLED. There's also an 83-inch G4 to my left, and at the very end, there's an 85-inch QN95D Neo QLED Mini LED. So some of the best TVs in the world are in this room, and the G5 still, in my opinion, stands above them in clarity, performance, processing, vibrancy, and surprisingly color, even at these very bright presets and with this very high nit footage from Jen. Now, because it's just us talking here, and I've mentioned this is not a review, I wanted to be able to bring this to you right away, meaning I'm not even waiting for my own to arrive. I want to be able to show this to you. And I had the same concerns that you guys have from our crew in the UK, which did amazing and very detailed work. But I had to see for myself, because from what I saw at LG, headquarters was really some of the same footage, but I wasn't able to play movies there. I couldn't change the presets. Everything was in the standard preset. But now we're going to move into gaming, which, other than Dolby Vision, I was most afraid of, because this is where I encountered a lot of the crawling blacks on the CX. Now, keep in mind, those issues with the CX were later taken care of. It just took many, many months for that. What you're going to see in Ghost of Tsushima is that bright lantern. I have never seen that torch, I should say, be that bright in any TV, any mini LED or OLED before it. And the blacks are perfect. No crawling blacks, no crushing of blacks, no posterization with VRR enabled in game mode or at all in gaming. As we're here looking at Horizon Forbidden West, we'll run through the new optimizer, which is very similar to last year. What I like, being a former or a C1 owner, is how much of it is in the game bar in terms of your settings that you can access without going into the full picture settings where you're outside in the regular LG menu. You can do most of it from here. Now, LG along with Samsung are on the cutting edge for gaming on both PC and console. I like their game optimizer a lot better than the game boards from the other manufacturers. I like being able to go into each blade here and customize, especially the black and white stabilizer, being able to deepen the blacks, bring them down if you do feel like something is too elevated. A lot of games do have a broken HDR. You also have dynamic tone mapping, HGIG, and you also have the ability to go into a professional preset here and customize where you want it to clip at how many nits. So having that flexibility and customization is really LG's alone in regards to its tone mapping. We're also moving up to 165 Hz from 144 Hz on the LG G4. Now, I only have the PS5 Pro with me. I'll be back later in the week with my PC, which has a 4090 to test 4K 165 Hz. But I'll tell you that the improved peak brightness, color, and detail mixed with the instant pixel response of an OLED makes this G5 an unbeatable gaming TV. As we move on to Demon Souls, which I love because the pop in this game I have never seen on a different TV, where you look at his armor, but look at the level around him and how the lantern on his hip pops. The contrast ratio just cannot be touched. I don't care what mini LEDs do, they'll never be able to come close to what you're seeing from the G5 today. And I do feel the G5 is going to stand completely alone, as there is no other 83-inch that is going to be able to touch it other than last year's G4. Now we'll have to wait and see what the S95F will be at 83 inches. I'm not sure we're going to get our hands on that for next week. It is going to have the same panel as the G5, so that'll be very interesting, but it'll also have the coating that many of you are not fond of. Now, I didn't notice much of a drop in peak brightness going from the other presets to game mode. Again, you can change the presets as well, but if there is a drop in brightness, it isn't significant, and the G5 is more than bright enough for anything in any space that you're going to be in. Again, the specular highlights are popping in every game that I tried. Now, as we get to the end of the video, you may be asking yourself, why am I not showing you the Dolby Vision content? For those of you that are new here, I will never risk my channel showing copywritten material. I just went through this with a Sony video where I had actual permission and the video was still flagged. I just will not risk this entire channel and all my hard work showing that. If other creators want to show you, let them do it. I simply will not. And pausing it and trying to take a picture for you really didn't show the issues that I was seeing. But I do feel at this point they are minimal, and I do feel LG will fix it. I will be the early adopter for you guys. I will put my money where my mouth is. I will have this TV in my studio and we'll go through it together if there are those issues. We'll also see them again next week when we test it against the S95F. Now back to the gaming, I am showing you SDR gaming now to see if the brightness takes a hit. I do not notice the brightness dropping at all. The game modes look gorgeous, and again, the G5 is the brightest OLED I have ever seen, and I'm surrounded by OLEDs, including the brand new S95 QD OLED, which is also super bright. In closing, I was absolutely blown away by the 83-inch LG G5 to the point, as I've mentioned many times, I am going to purchase it and be the early adopter for you guys. Whatever issues are lingering, I am confident that LG will take care of. That's how impressed I was with the rest of the LG G5's performance. The increased brightness, more importantly, color volume with that brightness is what impressed me the most. Also, the detail. It is absolutely gorgeous and it leaps off the screen. And obviously the new gaming features being 165 Hertz, an improved gaming optimizer, and a tuned Alpha 11 processor, all the things I want and I need. I am Brian, this is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Love you guys. Take care.
It's better to burn out than to fade away. There can be only one.